Welcome to your personalized deep dive.
Oh, nice.
We're going deep today.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at plant behavior
Okay.
and specifically plant memory.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so get ready. This is from a book chapter
Okay.
that I think will really change the way you think about plants.
I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever considered that a plant might have memory?
It's not something I've thought about a lot.
Right, that's kind of how I was too before reading this.
Yeah.
And it really does get you thinking about what intelligence even is. And are plants intelligent?
Right. It's a big question.
It is a big question.
And for a long time, the answer was pretty much no.
Yeah, exactly.
Like plants, they just react to their environment, right?
Right.
No real thinking involved.
Right, just like basic, stimulus and response.
Exactly.
But this chapter starts off with a really cool scene.
Oh.
It's late summer in Berlin.
Nice.
And this author is walking with a plant researcher
Named Thilo Henning, who's from the Berlin Botanic Garden.
So they're going for a walk and talking about plants.
Yeah, and they're getting ready to introduce us to this idea of plant memory.
Interesting.
Through this plant
Okay.
called Nassa poissoniana.
Nassa poissoniana.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard of that one.
So it's this beautiful flower from the Peruvian Andes,
Okay.
and it has this amazing ability to remember the intervals between visits
Visit.
from bumblebees.
Wow.
Like it can track how much time has passed since a bee was last there.
So it's like it has a built-in clock.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
It is.
So how does that even work? I mean, does a flower even need to know when a bee was last there?
Right. It sounds crazy, but it's all about pollination.
Oh, I see.
If bees aren't visiting as often,
Mm.
it basically ups its game to try to attract them.
Okay.
Like it offers more pollen and makes its nectar sweeter.
So it's like it's trying to lure the bees back.
Exactly.
That's pretty smart for a flower. It is. It's like it's manipulating the bees.
Clever little plant.
Right. And they found all this out because they were studying the family of plants that Nassa poissoniana belongs to,
Oh, interesting.
which is called Loasaceae.
Okay.
And they were actually initially fascinated by the stinging hairs these plants have.
Stinging hairs. Ouch.
Yeah. But then they stumbled upon this whole time tracking ability.
And that kind of opened up a whole new area of research.
Exactly. It makes you wonder what else we don't know about plants.
Right. It's like we're just starting to understand their complexity.
So to actually prove this whole time tracking thing, they did this cool experiment.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this experiment.
Yeah, so they simulated bee visits at different intervals.
So they were pretending to be bees, basically.
Basically.
I love that.
One group of flowers got visited every 15 minutes.
Okay.
And another every 45 minutes.
So different schedules for each group.
And then they had a control group where they just left the flowers alone.
Okay, makes sense. And so what did they find?
The flowers that were visited every 15 minutes actually learned to anticipate the next visit.
Wait, so they actually changed their behavior based on the simulated bee visits?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty convincing evidence.
It is. It shows that they were actually learning.
Yeah, it's not just a simple reflex.
Right.
They're actually adjusting their behavior based on what happened before.
Exactly.
That's amazing. So does this mean that plants are intelligent?
That's the big question, right? I mean, if they can learn and remember, what does that tell us about how their minds work?
It definitely challenges our assumptions about what it means to be intelligent.
It does. And it really makes you wonder where they're even storing these memories.
Yeah, that's a good point. They don't have brains like we do.
Right. So where is all that information going?
It's a fascinating mystery. And there's a lot of debate in the scientific community about this.
So what are some of the theories?
Well, some researchers think that plant memory might be decentralized.
Decentralized?
Yeah, meaning it's not stored in one specific place, like a brain,
Okay.
but rather spread throughout the entire plant.
So it's like maybe it's in their cells, or maybe it's even in the way they grow.
Exactly. It's a really interesting idea, and it actually ties into what we're learning about memory in humans, too.
Oh, how so?
Well, we're starting to realize that even in us, memory isn't just limited to the brain.
Okay, so are you saying that we have memories stored in other parts of our bodies?
It's possible.
Hmm.
Like, think about your immune system. Your immune cells can remember pathogens they've encountered before.
Right, so they can mount a quicker response if you get exposed again.
Exactly. That's a form of memory that's not happening in the brain.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. It's like our bodies have their own intelligence.
In a way, yes. And it makes you wonder if maybe plants have something similar going on.
So this Nassa poissoniana is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to plant memory.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There are so many fascinating examples out there. Like, have you ever heard of vernalization?
Vernalization. I don't think so.
It's basically how plants use the memory of winter to time their spring growth.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so they don't sprout too early and then get killed by a late frost.
So it's like they remember how harsh winter can be and wait until it's really safe to come out.
Exactly. They're using information from the past to guide their behavior in the present.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
I know, right? It's incredible stuff.
This whole idea of plants tracking time is pretty wild.
Yeah. And it's not just about winter either. There's this plant called Cornish mallow.
Cornish mallow.
Yeah, have you heard it?
Can't say I have.
Well, this plant is pretty amazing.
Okay.
It can anticipate the sunrise.
What?
Like, it turns its leaves to face the horizon hours before the sun even comes up.
Oh, seriously?
It's like they have an internal clock that tells them exactly where the sun will rise.
That is so cool. But how do they even know where the sun will be?
Well, throughout the day, their photoreceptors record information about the sun's position.
Oh, I see.
And then they use that information to predict where it will rise the next morning.
Like they're making a mental map of the sun's movements.
Exactly.
Oh, it's amazing.
And, scientists are actually studying this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to try and develop smarter solar panels.
Wow, that makes sense. If we could figure out how plants do that, we could make our technology so much more efficient.
Exactly. There's so much we can learn from plants.
It seems like memory, movement, and learning are all connected in the plant world.
Yeah, you're picking up on something really important.
Because all these examples, it's like plants are engaging with their environment.
Yeah, they're not just sitting there passively.
Right.
They're actively responding to what's happening around them.
And using their memories to make decisions that help them survive.
Exactly. And one of the most dramatic examples of this is the Venus flytrap.
Oh, yeah, those are so cool.
Right. And, they can actually count.
What do you mean?
They count the number of times their trigger hairs are touched.
Oh, so they know if there's actually prey in there or if it's just something brushing by.
Yeah, they don't want to waste energy closing on nothing.
That's amazing. And I remember reading about the dodder vine.
The dodder vine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a fascinating one.
That's the parasitic plant that actually sniffs out its host plant.
Right.
It's like it has a sense of smell or something.
It's incredible. It can actually detect the chemicals released by other plants.
And it chooses the ones that are the most nutritious.
It's like it's evaluating its options, making a conscious choice about where to get its food.
So how does a plant do that without a brain?
That's a great question. And it leads us to another groundbreaking idea from our source material. Plant intelligence as a decentralized, networked system.
Okay, this is starting to sound like a sci-fi movie. Plants with networked intelligence. Tell me more.
Well, it's becoming increasingly clear that this is how many plants operate. Instead of having a central brain like us, their intelligence is distributed throughout their entire being.
So it's like every part of the plant is contributing to the overall decision-making.
Yeah, it's a collective effort. And this allows them to be incredibly adaptable and resilient.
It's really making me rethink everything I thought I knew about plants. They're so much more complex than I ever imagined.
I know, right? And what the key players in this decentralized network might be merisms.
Meristems, those are the growth centers of the plant, right?
That's right. And they might be acting like mini brains scattered throughout the plant body.
So each one is gathering information and making decisions about how the plant should grow.
Exactly. They're sensing things like light, gravity, temperature, moisture.
And then using that information to coordinate the plant's growth and development.
It's a really remarkable system, and it challenges us to expand our definition of intelligence.
It really does. I mean, we tend to think of intelligence as something that requires a brain, but maybe that's just one way of being intelligent.
Right, maybe plants have evolved their own unique form of intelligence, one that's perfectly suited to their way of life.
I'm starting to see plants in a whole new light. It's like they have a hidden world of intelligence that we're only just beginning to understand.
And the source material also describes this idea of plants as embodied memory.
Embodied memory, what does that mean?
It's a beautiful way to think about it. It suggests that a plant's physical form is a reflection of its lived experiences.
So, the way a tree grows is actually a memory of its past.
Exactly. Every twist, turn, and branch tells a story about the conditions it's encountered, the challenges it's overcome.
It's like their bodies are living records of their history. That's so profound.
It is profound. And it's similar to how our own spatial memory works.
Our spatial memory.
Yeah, like how we remember the layout of our environment. It's thought to be an evolutionary holdover from our hunter-gatherer days.
Oh, I see.
when knowing where to find food and shelter was crucial for survival.
So it's like plants are constantly mapping their world through their growth.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, what if we had taken a different evolutionary path? What if humans had evolved to get our energy from the sun, like plants?
Would we even need to move?
Right. Would we have developed complex brains?
What would our world be like?
It's a fascinating thought experiment. And it highlights how much our own way of thinking is shaped by our evolutionary history.
Yeah, we tend to see the world through the lens of our own experience, but plants offer us a glimpse into a completely different way of being.
And that's one of the things that makes this research so exciting.
It's opening up our minds to new possibilities.
Exactly.
So you mentioned this idea that the evolution of the animal mind might be connected to the behavior of plants.
Yeah, the philosopher Peter Godfrey Smith has this theory.
Okay.
He argues that the animal mind emerged because animals had to move and interact with their environment.
So basically, the more you move, the more you experience, and the more you learn.
Exactly. And while plants don't move in the same way that animals do, they're still engaging with their environment through growth and development.
So they're still having experiences, and they're still learning.
And that learning is made possible by memory. Without memory, there can be no learning, no adaptation, no evolution.
Wow, memory is so much more fundamental than ever realized.
It really is. It's the foundation of all intelligent behavior.
And this research is challenging us to rethink what memory is and where it resides. It's not just about brains and neurons.
Right, it might be something much more fundamental, a capacity for learning and adaptation that could be woven into the very fabric of life itself.
My mind is officially blown. This is incredible.
It is incredible, and we're only just beginning to scratch the surface of plant intelligence and memory.
I can't wait to see what other discoveries are made in this field. It's so fascinating.
Me too. It's an exciting time to be studying plants.
So we've talked a lot about how plants remember things, but what are the bigger implications of this?
That's a great question, and I think it really boils down to this. What does it mean to be intelligent?
Right, we're challenging our very definition of intelligence.
Exactly. Can we even define intelligence without considering the unique ways that other life forms have evolved to solve problems and thrive in their environments?
This whole deep dive has been one mind-blowing revelation after another. Who knew that something as simple as a flower, remembering when a bee last visited, could open up such profound questions?
It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
The more we learn about plants, the more we realize how much we don't know.
It's like we're finally starting to listen to the silent voices of the plant kingdom.
And what they have to tell us is changing everything.
And I love that the author uses this beautiful phrase, a universe of selves comes into focus.
Yeah, that really captures the essence of it.
It's not just us humans experiencing the world. There's a whole symphony of awareness out there.
And we're just one instrument in the orchestra.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. It's humbling, it's inspiring.
And I think it leaves us with so much to ponder.
It does. If plants can remember, learn, and adapt in such complex ways, what other secrets are they holding?
What other forms of intelligence are waiting to be discovered?
What can we learn from their wisdom, their resilience, their deep connection to nature?
It's an invitation to keep exploring, to keep asking questions, and to never stop marveling at the incredible diversity of life on Earth.
This deep dive has been a real game changer for me. I feel like I'm seeing the world with new eyes.
That's wonderful to hear. It's all about expanding our perspectives and realizing that there's so much more to discover if we just open our minds to the possibilities.
So true. I'm definitely going to be looking at plants differently from now on.
I think we all will.
Yeah. It's amazing to think that something so familiar can be so full of mystery.
It is. It's a reminder that the journey of discovery never really ends.
Absolutely. There's always something new to learn, something amazing to uncover, just waiting around the corner.
So, stay curious, stay open-minded, and keep diving deep. And keep growing.
Exactly. That's the perfect way to put it.
Thanks for joining me on this incredible journey.
It's been a pleasure.
I can't wait to explore even more of the plant world with you.
Me too. There's so much more to uncover.
Till next time.
Happy exploring. It's almost like it's weighing its options, deciding where to latch on based on what it's sensing.
Like it's thinking, this one's not so tasty. Let me try that one over there.
Yeah, it's a really clever strategy.
So smart.
All driven by those chemical cues.
And memory.
Right, remembering what worked before, what didn't.
I keep coming back to that, this idea of plant memory. It's just so mind-blowing.
It is, isn't it? And it leads us to this really fascinating concept that our source material dives into.
Okay.
This idea of plant intelligence as like a network.
A network.
Yeah.
Yeah, a decentralized system.
Okay, now we're getting into sci-fi territory.
I know, right? Like plants with hive minds.
Tell me more.
So instead of having one central brain like we do,
Okay.
their intelligence is kind of spread out throughout their entire body, like a network, all interconnected.
So it's not like one part is in charge, it's more like a collective effort.
Exactly.
Wow, that's so different from how we think about intelligence.
It is, and it makes them incredibly resilient, you know?
How so?
Well, they can lose parts of themselves and still function.
Oh, right.
They can adapt their growth to fit their environment,
Mm-hmm.
and they can respond to threats in ways that, well, an organism with just one brain couldn't.
So maybe being less centralized is actually an advantage in the plant world.
It might be, you know? Makes you think about all the different ways intelligence can manifest.
For sure, it's not just about having a big brain.
Exactly. And this decentralized intelligence, well, some researchers think meristems might play a big role.
Meristems, remind me what those are again.
Oh, they're the areas of the plant where new cells are forming, driving growth.
Okay, right, like the tips of roots and stems.
Exactly. And some scientists think they might be acting like, well, mini brains scattered throughout the plant.
Whoa.
So each meristem is kind of like a little information processing center,
Okay.
gathering data about the environment,
Yeah.
Light, temperature, gravity.
Right, and then using that information to decide how the plant grows.
Precisely.
That's amazing.
It is, isn't it? This
Yeah.
incredible network of tiny brains all working together.
It's like a whole hidden world of intelligence operating right beneath our noses.
It is.
This whole deep dive has been so eye-opening.
Has it?
Absolutely. I'm seeing plants in a whole new light now.
That's great to hear.
Before this, I just thought of them as, well, pretty decorations,
I
basically.
understand. A lot of people do.
But now I realize they're so much more dynamic,
Oh, yeah.
constantly sensing, responding, making decisions.
They're active participants in their environment.
And it all goes back to this idea that their physical form, the way they grow, it's like a record of their experiences.
Exactly. Embodied memory. It's a beautiful concept.
It makes me want to go look at all the plants in my house and try to decipher their stories.
Right. Imagine what we could learn if we could read the memories encoded in their branches and leaves.
Like, think about a giant redwood tree.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Hundreds of years old, all those rings telling tales of droughts and floods and fires.
Breathtaking to think about.
It makes you realize how connected they are to their environment and how much we can learn from them.
Absolutely. And it all goes back to this question of how would we have evolved if we were like plants?
I know we keep coming back to that, but it's such a fascinating thought experiment.
It is.
If we didn't need to move to find food, if we got our energy from the sun,
Would we have developed complex brains? Would we have a sense of individuality like we do?
it's mind-boggling.
It really is.
Maybe it would be more peaceful, more in tune with nature.
Maybe. Who knows?
Makes you realize how much our own way of thinking is shaped by our human experience.
It does. And plants offer us this incredible opportunity to step outside of that, to see the world from a totally different perspective.
And I think that's so valuable, especially in the world we live in today.
I agree.
Like, this chapter mentions how the evolution of the animal mind might be tied to movement.
Oh, right. Peter Godfrey Smith's theory.
Yeah, that as animals started moving around, exploring their environment.
They encountered more sensory information, which led to the development of memory and learning.
So basically, the more you move, the more you learn.
In a way, yes.
And now we're living in this world where we're so sedentary,
You're right. Always on our phones, sitting at desks.
Makes you wonder if that's affecting our cognitive abilities.
It's an interesting question for sure.
Because even though plants don't move in the same way that animals do,
Mm-hmm.
they are still constantly interacting with their environment.
They are, through their growth and development.
And they're learning from those interactions.
And that learning is made possible by memory.
Always comes back to memory, doesn't it?
It does. It's the foundation of everything.
Without memory, there can be no learning, no adaptation, no evolution.
Absolutely.
It's like memory is the key to unlocking the secrets of intelligence.
It might be, and this research is really pushing the boundaries of what we thought we knew about memory.
It's mind-blowing.
It is, and it's just the beginning. There's so much more to explore.
I'm really excited to see where this research goes in the future.
Me too. It's a fascinating field.
I mean, we've been talking about plants remembering, like when bees last visited or even winter.
Right.
But now we're saying they might have a kind of intelligence.
Well, it's definitely challenging our traditional understanding of intelligence for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we tend to think of intelligence as something that, requires a brain, right?
Right, a brain, neurons, all that stuff.
But plants, they've clearly found another way.
It's like we've underestimated them for so long.
I think we have, yeah.
This whole deep dive has been like one amazing revelation after another.
Has it?
It has. It really has.
I'm glad to hear that.
It's like I'm seeing the world with completely new eyes.
That's the power of, really diving deep into a subject.
It is, for sure.
And plants, they're full of surprises.
They are. And to think they're all around us.
I know, right? We share this planet with these incredible beings.
And I love how our source material, talks about this idea of a universe of selves.
Oh, yeah. That's a beautiful way to put it.
Like, it's not just us humans experiencing the world.
Right. There's so many other ways of being, of perceiving, of interacting with the environment.
It's like we're just one part of this grand symphony of life.
Exactly. And we're only just beginning to appreciate the complexity and diversity of that symphony.
And it's humbling.
It is. It's humbling to realize how much we don't know.
Right. And how much more there is to discover.
And plants, they're offering us this incredible opportunity to learn and grow.
I keep thinking about all the questions we still have, about plant intelligence, about memory, about consciousness even.
It's exciting to think about, isn't it? All these mysteries still waiting to be unraveled.
It is. It's like we've just opened the door to a whole new world.
And who knows what wonders await us on the other side.
This deep dive has been honestly transformative for me.
That's great to hear.
I feel like I've gained a newfound appreciation for plants.
That's what it's all about, fostering a deeper connection with the natural world.
And I'm excited to keep learning, to keep exploring.
Absolutely. And there's always more to discover.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? The journey never really ends.
It doesn't. So keep those questions coming. Keep that curiosity alive.
And thanks for joining me on this incredible journey. It's been a real pleasure diving deep with you.
The pleasure has been all mine. Until next time.
Until next time.